If I'm recruiting you and you're a basketball player in 4 years when you graduate and you're just a basketball player, that's proud.
This is the Mental Mettle Podcast, where we explore how to forge mental toughness and resilience in every aspect of life. Welcome, I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman. I'm an ICF certified professional coach with a background as a teacher, basketball coach, and athletic director. But my journey took a dramatic turn in 2020 when I survived both cancer and a stroke. Those experiences shaped my mission, help others grow stronger in every facet of life. Today, I work with athletes, coaches, educators, and anyone who believes that positive mental health is both achievable and a personal responsibility. This podcast is dedicated to helping listeners develop a positive version of toughness, one rooted in resilience, focus, and growth. Whether you're looking to excel on the field, in the classroom, or in life, this is your space to learn, grow, and take action. Join me on this journey, and together, let's forge your mettle. Welcome back to the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Toman, and I'm so thankful you're joining in today. Really happy with the way the podcast is going. Great guests I'm having, a lot of people tuning in, checking out, and people reaching out to me to be on the podcast, which is always cool whenever I get that. And so if you are tuning in and you got an idea for a guest, absolutely shoot me an email, coachtoman@gmail.com, or just, find my website, send me something on Facebook, Instagram, I'm on all those things. Like, shoot me a message. You got an idea of a coach or an athlete? I talk to all kinds of different people, and just anything that has to do with somewhat to do with sports, but mostly about the mental part of sports is kind of what I'm after. And really going well, enjoying the podcast. I want to tell a little bit of story on how I got to know today's guest. I got the opportunity to go work and do my professional development program, Ember to Inferno. I got the opportunity to go do this at a university. Now, if you don't know, my Ember to Inferno program is a professional development program for coaches that I typically do at the junior high school level. I got into this job as a professional coach, working mostly with athletes. The more I started to get into it, and with my background as a coach, a basketball coach, and an administrator, I realized that I had the opportunity to reach to coaches and teach them some of this positive psychology stuff that I was working with the athletes. I saw that a lot of coaches were struggling with how to deal with today's athletes, and I could see it from the side of me using or meeting with the coaches or with the athletes, and kind of see that the breakdown and some of the problems. And I just know so many coaches, and I realized that all this positive psychology stuff that I do, that is the background of life coaching and executive coaching and all different types of coaching. I realized it could be a great way to use to help coaches. Not that they're doing, necessarily doing something wrong, but we all need to try to grow and do things better and do things in a better way. And honestly, a moment of honesty here, I could look back at a lot of the way that I coached when I was a junior high school coach, coaching basketball, and kind of looked back at some of the ways that I coached and realized I could have done so much better and wish I had done so much better, but I didn't know. You kind of coach as you were coached. Not that I had bad coaches growing up. It's just the kind of way it was. And there was a lot of negativity in it. And the positive psychology stuff, obviously, due to the name, positive psychology, is a better long-term plan for building mental health in addition to helping athletes. So positive psychology is for anyone, but I realized that you could apply it to athletics. And so I kind of figured that out and realized, well, why don't I go back and start working with coaches and start teaching some of this stuff? And then it's one of those things, and you kind of see the ripples. And if I can work with a coach and they can reach out and help an athlete or several athletes, all the athletes that they work with, then we're making this, it's a bigger ripple effect. And I, if nothing else, I got into mental mental coaching and starting doing this because it had been such a struggle for me, is some of my stuff with some of my issues after my health scares and just anxiety, and I want to help as many people as I can, and that's why I started this business. And so if I can help coaches, then they help more athletes, and that's a good thing. And so I love to be able to go into coaches and work with coaches. I spent a lot of doing several high schools throughout Illinois, down in Tennessee, and then over into Nebraska, where I did this one with a university. So I'm gone all over the place trying to do this, and what I'm really enjoying is, after I've been doing this for a while, for the last couple of years, the Ember to Inferno program, is when I get random emails or messages on Facebook, and they talk about how they used something that they learned in one of my seminars and how it made them, help them, an athlete, and they could actually equate it to them not only helping an athlete mentally, but also how it helped them win a game or a golf match or a race or anything like that. And so when I can do double duty, my first goal is to help athletes and coaches be able to play athletics in a positive, mentally positive way. But if we can get wins and get some background, a little bit of bona fide, and that kind of builds it up, that no, this, you can win this way as well, it's even better, right? So I've been doing this quite a bit now with the junior high and the high school level. And then I get the opportunity to go work at a university, at Midland University out in Fremont, Nebraska. And I was absolutely grateful and excited to do that. But even though I've been at this business, I think I've started mental mental coaching, it's going on 4 years now, and I'm doing the Ember to Inferno for a couple years now. Like, you go up a level and you still get the imposter syndrome. It's like, I'm going to go work at Midland University, a little bit about them. They have the largest athletic department in the state of Nebraska. So they are well known. It's an NAIA school that's well known for having every sport available, right? So they bring me in to go work with these coaches, and it's, I don't know, it was 80 to 100 people there. Like, the room was a big room with coaches and college coaches. And I haven't coached at college. I played in college, but I didn't coach in college. So there is a little imposter syndrome into, what are they really even going to listen to me? Like, why would they listen to me? And I went, and it was just a phenomenal day, 3 to 4 hour presentation. And I felt like it flew by. Everybody was engaging. They were fantastic. I was thrilled to be there. They were thrilled to have me be there. And then, as a result, that is how my made this connection with this coach today, is Tyler Erwin, and he is the head coach of Midland University. So Tyler's a great guy. And he actually came up to me after the meeting, and during the presentation, he was one of those guys that I could see him over there, had his notepad out, and was just hammering away, taking notes. And you do the presentation enough, and you can pay attention. You can start to notice who's really locked in and who's getting stuff, who's nodding and who's taking notes. And I didn't even know what Tyler coached at that point. I could just see him over there, taking notes, paying attention. And then it was afterwards, he came up to me and just said something to the effect that he said, "This was a lot to process. I really enjoyed it. Give me your card, and I'm going to reach back out to you so we can discuss some of this," which is fantastic. If I can make a coach's and Tyler, as you're going to see in this interview, he's been around a while. He's been a lot of places, a lot of different levels. He was a good player. And if I can get somebody who's been in the game and he ends up being a basketball coach, right? And which is that's my that's my favorite. Basketball's where I play, what I played, and what I like. I like it all, but that's to be able to reach a basketball coach that's been doing it for a long time and make a basketball coach have his wheels start turning, and thinking about this positive psychology stuff and how he can use it to help his players, help his program, build his culture, and do all the things that he's trying to do. That is, it's man, it is that. Yeah, it's. I don't want to get emotional about it, but when I can do that, and know that I'm hitting buttons and helping people think, and again helping spread those ripples to help people, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I love it. So again, this is going to be a great interview. Tyler's great, a lot of stuff. I'll talk to you on the other side just a little bit about just some of the stuff that we notice and how you can apply that. But yeah, enjoy the interview, and with Tyler Erwin of Midland University. Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Toman, at Mental Mettle Coaching. All right, welcome back. It's the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm here with my guest today, Tyler Erwin. Tyler is the head men's basketball coach for Midland University out in Fremont, Nebraska. And Coach, thanks for coming on. We met just a couple weeks ago when I was out there doing some stuff and had a good presentation out there. Met a lot of good folks and a lot of good coaches, and we kind of hit it off and talked, and here we are having a podcast. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, no, it's great to meet you, and great to be on your podcast. And kind of a new subscriber, and uh, man, your last couple guests, I don't know if I can be in the ballpark with some of those guys, national
You
type
well,
championship coaches, and then you bring me in. But
you
super
know
excited to
what
be
though?
here, and like, super excited to have a conversation with you.
It's interesting. I've met with a lot of coaches at different levels, and no offense to like any guest whatsoever, but I feel like sometimes I'm just as likely to pick up a little tidbit that I can use from somebody who's doing seventh grade basketball, girls,
That's
and
what us
like
coaches do. We steal
I
stuff,
know,
right?
I
We
know,
steal stuff.
and I think that the good coaches will listen to anybody, because all it takes is somebody will give you a different way to even strategically might give you a different look at, like, well, why don't you just do this, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not even thinking about that. And
Yeah.
it's amazing to me how the game of basketball has been around so long, doing so many things, but there's still things that we're figuring out, playing, doing, that it's just fantastic.
Total. And I enjoy listening to the Drive Time podcast, audiobooks, movies, anything, just to try to, as coaches, what do we try to do? We try to gain an advantage. We try to learn something, and to have that growth mindset is huge. And that's just, I mean, we'll dig into it here, but that's one of the things that we talk a lot about. And my connection, when you came to campus here a few weeks ago, is your positivity and your growth mindset. I mean, I just gravitated towards that because we talk about that in our program and within our guys all the time. So super excited to have this with you here today. So
Yeah, yeah. So give me a little bit about your background, Coach, where you grew up, where you're playing, and kind of what led you to be where you are now.
yeah, it's kind of for me, it's become full circle. I graduated and played here at Midland years ago, just a few years ago, but years ago.
Amen.
Uh, but had some success. Got a chance to play in the national tournament. I was a senior on that team that played down in Branson at the time. The national tournament was down in Branson, Missouri, and had some success. And going into my senior year and graduating and kind of the end of my basketball journey, you get beat, and everybody always asks me, "Hey, how'd you get into coaching? What'd you do? How did I get started?" And it just kind of came organic. Like my coach, who's in the Hall of Fame here now, was in my ear for a good probably 2 years when I was playing for him. He was like, "Hey, Tyler, you'd be a good coach. Have you thought about it?" And I really did. I was just so focused on being a student athlete to be the best student athlete I could be, and all of a sudden, at the snap of a finger, your season's over, and then you're like, "Oh wait, now what am I going to do?" And graduated in May, and I got a business degree here from Midland, and I got my coaching endorsement. But I just knew high school. I didn't want to get in the high school setting. I wanted to stay in sport. And long story short, I stuck around. And started coaching here at Midland, JV coach, and helped with the varsity, and worked part-time admissions and part-time athletics, and just kind of got that itch. It's the closest thing that I had to basketball. It's that closest thing. It's that always been part of a team. And when it was taken away from you, when it's over, you're like, where's the team at? What are we doing? What are the guys doing? So for me to get that sense of synergy with guys, I was like, all right, I'm going to get into coaching, and started coaching here for 3 years. And after 3 years, I'm like, okay, how can I do this? Um, what do I need to do? What's my next steps? How do I do this? How do I make a profession out of this coaching
Right.
thing? And that led me to University of Nebraska Kearney. I was a grad assistant out at Kearney, and I was here at Midland, played here 4 years, three here as a coach, and then 7 years at one school. You got to go, you got to do something, you
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
see
it
something
is.
different.
Yeah,
So then
absolutely.
so then I got an opportunity to go to Kearney, and it was a grad assistant there, and had a tremendous 2 years, 2.5 years at Kearney. And I showed up all green and just kind of knowing one thing, and showed up, and we won 51 games in 2 years. Got a chance to play both years in the NCAA Division II national tournament and Player of the Year and all the stuff. And um, I got my master's in education, sport administration and leadership, and kind of started my journey again. You kind of start over again, and I
Well,
really
I think that as you go into the get your master's on something administration, you start. I don't know. The more you start learning stuff, the more you unlearn stuff, and you realize you don't know as much as you thought you did, and it's amazing.
no, it's crazy. And I listened to your last podcast with Coach Tonigal at
Yeah.
Wesleyan, and he kind of said that about his doctorate. I'm not that level,
No,
but
I
he
know.
kind of
Yeah.
said that, like, you kind of get in those classrooms and you kind of think you know what's going on, and you're a little bit older, and then the professor kind of undresses you a little bit. And you're like, I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that, and it makes you think different.
Well, it does. It makes you understand a little bit more where people are coming from, and you get a little bit more of the nuts and bolts on how other people think and how other people work,
Yeah,
because you just kind of like, if you stay in one, like you said, you stay in one place doing one thing, and you think you get everything figured out, and you kind of
yeah,
think you understand
yeah.
everybody, and you just don't.
You don't, you don't, and my time at Kearney was tremendous with Coach Crop and the guys out at Kearney, and I really would. we had so much success that, just like anything, a grad said, I'd love to stay, right? I can stay, right? I can stay. It's like, no, no, your time's done. It's time
Yeah.
to go and help me to my next journey to Simpson College. And I was a first full-time assistant at Simpson College in Indianola, Iowa, just south of Des Moines.
Yeah.
And I was at Simpson College, the Division III model, the Division III recruiting, the Division III student athlete was a different animal, different environment for me, kind of out of the state of Nebraska as well. I grew up here in Nebraska and grew up a farm kid, and now I'm on this journey. Uh, and it was my coach, Coach Wilson at Simpson College. He's in the Hall of Fame at Simpson, a tremendous player there, and just learned so much. And through my time at Simpson, met some new recruiting ties, some recruiting avenues, and just kind of worked my way through the journey here. And then my last stop before back here to Midland, I got a chance to help the transition and be a Division I assistant at the University of Nebraska Omaha.
Okay.
And I got a chance. I knew the coach, Coach Hansen, and his assistant had moved on. And uh, I my when you're 4 years and uh, engaged, and my wife, and there's a ton of transition
Uh-huh.
after my fourth year, and I kind of took that leap of faith. I'm a believer. You take that leap of faith where you kind of go all in, and my wife and I moved to Omaha and was an assistant at Omaha for 13 years. And in those Division I, through the transition in the Division I circles, and now I'm in another avenue, another recruiting, and uh, learned a lot. And long story short, 22 years later, I'm still an assistant. 22 years at
Yeah.
Division II, Division III, Division I, and AI, all the levels, and I'm still an assistant. So I'm trying to we kind of mentioned it earlier, steal things, pick up things, learn something here. And now, after my 13th year, the job here at Midland opens up. And a couple, and Omaha, for geography, for people listening, Omaha to Midland's like 20 minutes. It's kind of
Yeah.
a suburb of Omaha. It's not far. And my wife and two girls. I got middle school girls, so help me out here. Well, that's a whole nother. I
It
got
is.
middle
Oh,
school
yeah.
girls,
Yeah.
but anyway, so I learned that the job is open, and I'm like, wow, to leave Midland, to go Kearney, to Simpson, Omaha, and kind of that full circle to come back to your alma mater, to be a first time head coach at your alma mater. That's special. And it's something that I couldn't pass up, number one, and close geography with family and friends and alumni. Um, and I got the fortunate job to take the head job, get the head job, and here I am already going into my fourth year. So a long answer to your question, but I wanted to make sure everybody had the
Yeah. No.
context of the circle to get back, and super excited to be here. And I'm just building it. I'm building it step by step.
What was it like? What was the program like when you came in?
You know what? They had had some success. Let's see, now it's been 10, 12 years ago. Got a chance. They're in the national tournament. Their 13-14 team, 2013-14 team was Elite Eight, Final Four type type teams, national runner-up type teams. Like they had a good run, and then
Okay.
the past 8 or 9 years just has kind of been they've been good, but just not at the level where they had been. When I graduated, we had gotten a tournament, taken it to step. Now it kind of a little this, and we're headed in the right direction. But as you know, anything it takes a
Oh yeah.
village. It takes
Well, that's.
more than
Oh
one.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm just kind of setting the stage. It kind of feels a little bit like coming back to your alma mater. It had gone down a little bit somewhere you played and it was good. It's like
Yeah,
that all equals a little bit more pressure for you.
yeah, yeah, but pressure is a privilege.
It is, but it's still
Pressure
pressure.
is a privilege.
It's still pressure though.
It is, but I wouldn't do it at any other school. So it's like, and I have to be careful because I and it kind of happened this morning in practice. We had early morning practice, our seventh practice of the year, and it kind of happened. I can't want it more than my team. Like
Hmm.
I want it, you want it so bad, and you want to turn it so bad that I come across sometimes like, oh wow, how do I match coach's energy? How do I match that? And there's days I kind of come in and it's and I have to balance that. I got to check myself. I have to take a step back because not the pressure, but um, I want it bad.
Yeah,
You want it, you can taste it, you've had a little success, and there's things that are lining up, and we've taken our lumps the last couple of years, and we're keeping some receipts and all that stuff. It's starting to
I
it's starting to
gotcha.
come.
So talk about like when you're coming into a new spot and you're talking about how it takes a village and it takes time to build up a new culture. But I know that's one of the things we wanted to talk about was culture
Yep.
and a little. So speak to that a little bit, not only on how to develop it, but you kind of sent me some of you have your culture, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that you have to have your what I call your true north, right?
Yep. Yep.
I think you have to have that when you start building a new culture. But I'd
Yeah.
like to talk about like how you start implementing your new culture and then how you pick, the words or the true north
Yeah.
that you pick. How do you come up with that and implement it?
It, and it's I really appreciate it. And if there's one thing that put a finger on, or one thing that like really the last going into my fourth year has been our culture model, because the old adage, culture can beat X's and O's every day of the week. I can here you go. Like here's the X's and O's, right? You can read that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got X's and O's all day, but yeah, your culture matters. And
I,
if there's one thing that has really helped move us in the right direction, is our culture. And how we have five pillars to our culture, and the five are integrity, determination, selfless service, gratitude, and the growth mindset.
mhm.
And how did we come up with these? And the first couple years, my staff and we sat down and just like it, you kind of hammer things out. You have discussions. You think on it. You pray on it. You do. And we had our pillars and what was important to us and what's important to me and my non-negotiables. But one thing that I found out, Matt, is it's not about me. It's our team, and we kind of flipped the script, and we put together a leadership team, our leadership council. We have four guys in our leadership council, and we put it on them and our team. Like, what's important to you? What's important to our guys? How can this affect you and our team? And we as coaches, we kind of had some uncomfortable conversations with some of our leadership council about that. And they kept kind of asking, well, Coach, what do you think? And I was like, no. I was like, hey, this is your team. We'll help you to the promised land. We'll help you get there. But what do you think we need? Yeah, so that's kind of how we came up with these buzzwords and these five pillars.
I love it. And I think that when you do that, there's always the fear that what if they come up with something that is like the wrong answer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And you know what though?
yeah. But there's no wrong answer though, because
There,
maybe that's a point that we need to address.
yeah. I mean, they might come up with it in a way you have to help them massage it
Yeah,
into something that we want,
yeah,
but they don't come up with the wrong answer. They don't
yeah. I know.
and they just will because if they by the time they get to your level, they know what it should be about. And I think
Yeah,
in your leadership council, in them having that conversation, it helps them process the things that they kind of think sometimes that they know they shouldn't be doing or
yeah,
like trying to do things for myself, even though they go, well, that can't be the answer, right?
Yeah.
It should be
Yeah.
more about selfless service and not about myself. So it helps them to like say those words and have those conversations because it helps them think about that, which is
Yeah.
that's the best part about it.
It becomes organic and like here's an example, like in the back of my in my pocket, like toughness, like adversity toughness is and we spoke on this a few weeks ago, Matt, when we had a
Mm-hmm.
conversation, like toughness and adversity. That's kind of been our theme that is we've kind of got to it, and then when something happens, we just kind of fall off the cliff type
Yeah.
situation. And so I wanted to make sure that my leadership council had some kind of toughness. And instead of toughness, they came up with determination.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. But let's have some discussion with determination. What does that look for
Well,
you?
and I love that because when we talk about like working on words, determination means your determination usually has a direction. We're determined to
Yeah.
get somewhere, right? So
Right.
that like how we pick words and it matters to
Mhm.
kids and it matters to teams.
Yeah.
So
So so they
do you redo this every year?
we not every year, but this will be kind of a we've kind of scrubbed it, and this is going into year 4. We've kind of always kind of redefining it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a day, it's a daily. The culture is a daily thing. It doesn't happen overnight, but we've always trying to not stay ahead of the curve, but we're always trying to what's important to our team in our setting. Like our team's completely different than Indiana Wesleyan. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Indiana Wesleyan's got stuff going on. You know what I mean? They're winning national titles and they got this stuff up. Well, some
Right.
of those things, uh, what Coach was talking about in his podcast was fear. Like his ceiling was that once they're fearless and their word was fear. Where I feel like our word that is kind of that's a mind block to our team is toughness and determination. So that's why it's ever kind of changing every year, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. I think you have to know your guys and they have to know themselves and what you're trying to, what you're trying to accomplish. And that's what I mean, there's no cut. I don't think there's a cookie cutter for this. I don't think
Right.
that like, you're not going to be able to come in, like when we talk about building culture and talking about it, you can't cookie cutter it and be like,
Yeah.
I think even if you left tomorrow and went somewhere else, you can say, well, here's exactly what I did at
Yeah.
Midland. And we had, like, you got to take what you learned
Yeah.
and apply it. But it's, again, you
Yeah.
keep saying it. It's got to be so organic and you have to
It
be
it
invested in it.
it does, and we've invested that's the leadership piece or leadership council has been where we are today. Each year now, we've won more games every year. Last year,
Yeah.
we took a step last year. We won the most games we've won. We made the conference tournament. We took a step, and it's helped us through the summer. It's helped us with this fall and going into our first few practices. It has been night and day. It has been. I can see it. I can see it, and I kind of texted you this earlier. Like it's the wins will come. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll start coming, and understanding it's a daily process. And we're protecting our culture every day. Like every day, I'm protecting something. You get the you get the email from the professor, or you get the email from across campus. Something happens, and well, what do you allow? What do you allow? What do
Right.
you protect? What's your culture about? Integrity. Integrity. We're going to do things the right way, both on the court, off the court, academically. We're going to be accountable. We're going to hold our student athletes accountable. We're going to hold our players accountable. So it's just an everyday protect the M. And I'm not wearing the M. I have my culture here, but we're protecting that M. We're protecting our culture each and every day.
Your athlete probably spends hours working on the specific skill set they need for their sport. And they probably spend hours in the weight room building their body. But how much time do they spend intentionally training their mind? Well, building mindset is the key to bridging the gap between the skills that we see and game execution. Well, Mental Mettle Coaching provides individual programs that can help your athlete develop this third and crucial skill set. Yeah, and I think that whenever we have, like, you got 5 pillars there, and it's nobody ever writes. We do these, and this is kind of a thing that more and more teams are doing it now, and having these pillars and having these words that they want to be, again, their true north. Nobody writes winning on there, hardly ever,
Yeah.
because it's not. Everybody wants to win, but I think the more that we get into this stuff, that we realize that winning isn't the
Yeah.
winning is winning. It cannot be the focus.
It can't be, and it can't, because then the pressure. Then you talk about pressure. Then that's pressure on you. It's pressure on the players and everybody else. It's about the process. The process to get there. That daily practice. And we talk about this in our culture about stacking days. That growth mindset to be positive and stacking a good day on top of another good day, and let's be a little bit better today than we were yesterday. And I don't know, you can kind of see it in the background there. I have win the day is kind of
Mm-hmm.
my hashtag that I kind of do. Just try to be better today. Just try to be a better coach today, to be a better Christian today, to be a better father today, to be a better coach to these guys today. And at some point, when you start stacking these days, things will come. The external wins type things, they'll come over here. They will.
Well, and I think that's, I don't know how deep you or your guys go into the growth mindset, but when you get into the whole book by Carol Dweck, it's like there's so much stuff in there on just like it's not a quick fix. It is a long-term idea, and how the biggest thing for a growth, the biggest proponent of growth mindset, the biggest thing you have in your corner is time. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not a quick, like, you have to accept that you're like, I'm getting better every day, but that doesn't mean I get a lot better every day either. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so time is just in the corner of the growth mindset individual. And that's how you
Yeah.
just, that's what I think of whenever you're talking about stacking days.
Yeah, and the constant improvement, the embrace the learning and embrace it, lifelong educators, um, and just having that constant communication, whether it's quotes that you send your team or each week we have a quote for the practice of the week, and today's, I got to look at today's, I should know that, right? Hard work doesn't guarantee you success. It simply increases your probability of being successful. Just
That's sort of, yeah. I mean, it's not the winning, it's about the process. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talk about that, and in today's society too, with mental health and all the stuff that you do, which is tremendous, is everybody wants it now.
Mm-hmm.
Administrators, our society, we can get information now. We
It's
can
at your
get news
fingertips.
now.
Yeah.
We can get, like, if something happens in 15 seconds, it'll be on social media. I just got a message or a pop just came up that Bruce Pearl is going to retire and his son's going to take over at Auburn. I'll make that just like that. Back
Yeah.
back back in our day, we'd pull out the newspaper maybe 24, 48 hours later, and we find out that that doesn't
Yeah.
happen anymore. So
No,
so that's the mindset.
and you want results fast. And it's like, and if you have, I mean, not everybody you can instill this into your guys, your players, but the other people that might want maybe their parents or fans or anybody like that, they want it quicker.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yep.
wants it quicker.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and I have to take a step back as well. The patience. I'm wired a little hot sometimes,
Yeah.
ultra competitive, and we all are. But it's been such a fun journey so far because uh, each team's different, and I just love uh, digging into the leadership and digging into how we can be better.
Yeah. So a little bit about when you talk about your 5 things there, You've
Yep.
got integrity, determination, growth mindset. Those three are kind of like things you can look at yourself that you're trying
Yeah.
to develop and do.
Yeah.
But like the other two, selfless service and gratitude, are a lot about things that are focused at others. And I'd
Yeah.
like to just speak to the importance of that, because just from your perspective and your counsel and how they pick those up and what you notice from that.
Yeah. And those are awesome that they came up with those because in we're talking basketball here, we're talking some fun stuff, but let's not kid ourselves. It's basketball, right? I mean,
I
it's not all the other stuff that's going on in this world. There's just a lot of things going on in this world, but being selfless and helping in your community, like that's a priority for our team. Is that we do things here on this campus, and then we do things in the Fremont community, and it's we before me. It's how can we be a better person, and it's not all basketball. And some guys coming in to our program and freshmen and understanding like, oh, I'm here to play basketball, I'm here to play basketball. That's who I am. That's what's defined me. Like,
mm-hmm.
no, it's more than basketball. What are we doing on campus? Like, if I'm recruiting you and you're a basketball player in 4 years when you graduate and you're just a basketball player, that's a problem.
It
That's
is.
a problem. Like
Well,
what?
it's because, like
Like
you said, because at the end of 4 years, you're like you said, it ended up okay for you, but it ends in the blink of an eye. And if you don't know who else what you are, it goes really bad for some guys and gals.
right, right, and that's where we're trying to develop the whole person and understand that community matters and community service and doing things for others matter and FCA, whether that's Fellowship of Christian Athletes or helping out with Habitat for Humanity or devotions, all that stuff matters because how, how I always say this, like if we're asking somebody to get over a ball screen, or if we're asking them to do a closeout, well, I should be asking like, hey, did you go to class or have you talked to your mom lately? When's the last time you talked
Yeah.
to your mom? When's the last time you picked up the phone and you called your mom? If they say, well, I haven't done that, well, how am I going to ask them to get over a ball screen? Or how am I going to ask them to fight for a rebound when they can't do some of the life lessons?
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about that.
And it does. I think I don't know how it affects your recruiting or how you keep guys on the team and stuff like that, but it also becomes something a coach has to do. Yeah. Like if you like, hey, if I'm trying to develop them into better humans and not just better basketball players, how do I reward that? How do I recognize that too? Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's the trap you get into as a coach. If you just think about basketball, you can say we can have these 5 words, but if you're not actually recognizing how they do on those, then it becomes just words on a t-shirt, right? And I'm not
Yeah.
saying you do that, but that's what you have to be able to be aware of as the
Yeah.
coach.
And there's got to be substance to it. There's got to be
Absolutely.
examples. There's got to be substance to it. And the last pillar that you said is our gratitude. To be thankful, to have the opportunity to play. Like not that you get to, like I get to play. Like not that I have to, I get to. I get to be a student athlete. That's a thankful gratitude, and it's opportunities, and you strive to honor and it just to be that thankful person and not the resentful person that a lot of people in society might have right now.
Well, it's interesting because when you were talking about me coming and speaking and how it was all about positivity. And I think that the message that I try to give out and how I'm talking about, like I talk a lot about a positive version of toughness. Positivity gets misconstrued sometimes it's like the Pollyanna type, happy-go-lucky type positivity. And that's fine if you want to be that way, but that's not what I mean. I'm talking about like you said, gratitude is positivity, because if you can learn to practice gratitude, that means you're practicing finding positives in everything you do. And that's how we build. When you're talking about the growth mindset and build, you have to be able to, if you can't find the things that you're doing well and things that people are doing for you, then you don't have the step to get to the next step. So you have to have that gratitude. And you have to practice that positivity.
You have to, and it's like it's a skill set. One of our early struggles is our communication. Just like all teams probably struggle to communicate a little bit, but it's a skill. Communication is a skill that we have to teach. Positivity is a skill that we have to constantly talk about and constantly teach. Like after each practice, we kind of come together and huddle up, and I always kind of open it up to our leadership council and even players. All right, well, hey, what did we do well today? Let's end this. I always give hey, excuse me, a couple of things we need to work on. Tomorrow we're gonna, kind of give them a schedule, but then we end it with some kind of gratitude or positivity, like, hey, what did we do well today? And it's funny that so many guys might say something, and as a coach, like, I didn't think about that, but you know what? You're
Mm-hmm.
right. I, I I tend to think of maybe some of the negativity or can be better here or there, and then you know, whatever it is, hey, we shot the ball well, or we made our pressure free throws, or whatever it is, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. It makes me take that step back too, like, all right, I preach the positivity, we talk about gratitude, but am I as a head coach really doing that towards my team? Am I really coaching out of fear and they're fearful of me, or is there some joy with it? And I have to always catch myself that there's got to be some joy to this. There's got to be some gratitude, some thankfulness, and I need to relay that to my team.
The problems, like the negativity and the things that we did poorly, those are easy to pick out. Everybody,
Yeah,
we all pick those out, right?
yeah,
You're right. It takes a skill. And I think it's even more, when we talk about it being a skill, it is our natural human inclination to find negatives.
yeah,
It's what helps us survive. It helps us, um, it's just all this stuff. I love making all the biblical, you're talking about your man of faith, and just, there's so much I find in a lot of the letters from Paul about, he leans into, like, he's always talking about how we tend to gravitate towards the negative and how we have to really lean into hope, faith. He talks about
yeah,
gratitude. There's so much there that I love, that it's not our natural inclination. And so for you to bring it up at the end of practice and making them look for those and notice them is, I think it's one of the best things you can do for a team at the end of every practice, is to find those positives together.
yeah. And it's I hope it's a little thing, but you break the huddle, and then hopefully kind of sets in there a little bit. You're like, oh, they end somewhat. Does it always work? Where you're always ending practice on a positive? Not always, but man, if you can try to do that pretty consistently, well, there's got to be a joy to it. There's got to be a joy to it. There really does. And I was just so fortunate that our leadership council came up with that gratitude as a pillar, which is helped me, helped me as well as a coach. So
I think so. I one of my favorite quotes is that gratitude is not only the best virtue or the greatest virtue, but it's the father of all others, right? So no matter what you want to get better at, you have to practice gratitude, or you won't get better at anything, because you're not recognizing the things you're doing well, and showing gratitude for yourself and for others, and making that part, again, making that part of your practice plan. I think it's one of the best things that coaches that aren't doing, that could be making a huge difference.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so how do you, all this stuff we're talking about, Coach,
yeah.
we're getting kind of high up in the clouds here, and it's fantastic, and I love it. How do you bring it in? And we talked a little bit about how you did it at the end of practice, but how do you bring it all together for a game or a practice, and how to try to integrate all this stuff and make sure it's actually happening the way you want it?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great question. Uh, I'll just say this: with our culture, our model, our pillars, and everything, there's a lot, and we could talk on this for hours. There's got to be simplicity to it. You got to protect it. It's fragile as well. So we got to understand. But just like anything, when we're preparing for practice or preparing for a game or a shoot around or whatever it is, you just got to have that mindset that, all right, whatever comes my way, to be able to rely on my teammates, trust the process, rely on our culture, and the guy to my left and the guy to my right has my back. We're in this together. We have a strong togetherness, a strong synergy. We're in this together through thick and thin, through the bumps along the road, that we have to just kind of stay together. Like, we'll as coaches, we'll dig out the X's and O's and we'll dig out that stuff. But when you can handle adversity together, you got a chance. There's a fighting chance, and you're not leaving a teammate on the island. Your our leadership council is hopefully taking care of some stuff. So as coaches, we don't have to police everything. Like one of the examples,
Yeah.
before game, we'll kind of I'll put on my leadership council, hey, let's take 2 or 3 minutes before a game, and you guys, whether it's a positive growth mindset time or quiet time or whatever, that we're mentally 2 or 3 minutes that we're ready to go. And then before we come in at halftime, our leadership, our guys are talking about, hey, here's a couple things that we as coaches can come in conversations already happening. Like that they're already invested,
Right.
they're already talking. That hey, as coaches, we'll come in and we have 2 or 3 points as well, right? Hey, we got to do better in the ball screen, we got to rebound better, we got to make the extra pass or whatever it is. That already might be addressed. That already might be taken
Hmm.
care of. So kind of to put the investment on them a little bit, is their team. And one thing that we haven't spoke about yet, but the great teams, or the good teams that you've been on, and the great teams that I've been on, all this stuff. Well, the one common theme, Matt, is they're player led. When you have a
Hmm.
player led team, man, your ceiling is really high. If
Yeah.
it's just me and you coaching, and we have to coach everything, well, we can only get so high. But if there's ownership and buy-in from your players, your player-led team.
You can't make chicken salad out of chicken feathers, or perhaps you've heard it or even said the other version. Regardless, good coaches should not blame a lack of success on the players they get to coach. It's a lame excuse, and I'm sorry if that ruffles your feathers. But it's your job as a coach to develop your players. If your athletes lack skill or mental toughness, it's your responsibility to develop it. But how do you make today's athlete tougher without risking breaking them? Well, Mental Mettle Coaching now offers professional development for coaches, explaining how to do just that. The program is called Ember to Inferno, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. It teaches real tools and tangible methods that are proven to increase the mental health and toughness of athletes. The program is available as an in-person seminar or as virtual small group coaching. Don't wish for mentally tough athletes. Build them. Contact Mental Mettle Coaching today.
Hey, here we go. Here we go.
You have to, and I was just thinking about this on a podcast, I think it was a week or two ago, with a coach, and I kind of came up with this idea, and it's not a new idea, but just as I started talking with his coaches, but a coach has to create a culture where they give the athletes the opportunity to do that and not be, so domineering that they can't, there's no space for them to grow into if you're
Yep.
just holding them down everything. And that can be a scary thing.
There's
But
got to be a trust with that. There's got to be a major
th-
trust. And my first year or two, we kind of we new to the program, new coach, some of the players on the team I didn't recruit. So there was kind of that edge that you kind of get to. But now, going into year 4, like I have that I know the guys. I've recruited the guys. I know the guys, and
Yeah.
I have that trust. And then you can kind of feel it. You can kind of see it. And
Hmm.
that's the fun stuff.
What are you doing? Like when you talk about this leadership council, I'm just curious how you find those guys. How do you pick those guys? Is it a mix of different guys? I'm just kind of curious
Yeah,
about that process.
great question. Great question. So we have we have four guys. Let's see, two seniors, a junior, a sophomore, and
Okay.
it's kind of worked out that way the last couple of years. But just like anything, a freshman can't be in a leadership council, right? I mean, an
You
incoming
you
freshman,
you got to learn a little bit first, right?
right, right.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
So there's uh, kind of the caveat, and then the leadership council is voted on amongst our players. So
Okay.
out of the 15 or 16 guys in the room, take out the 4 or 5 freshmen, and then everybody votes. You can't vote for yourself. Us coaches, we get one vote. Can't vote for yourself, and then it's all you're all unanimous and all the stuff, and we just tally them. And you as a coach, you sit back and you trust the process.
I was just
Trust me, you
that was my
you
next
sit
question.
you
Yeah.
sit back and you trust it, and um, it has worked out. But to take step before that, through the recruiting process in college, you can recruit the high character players.
Well, that I think
And in high
that's
school,
that's
maybe not, high school, you're kind of dealt your
I
cards
get
a
you.
little
I get
bit.
you. I know, but it's interesting when you say that because it almost becomes a litmus test for you. And it when you're recruiting a kid, it's probably a question you ask yourself now: is can I see this kid being on my
Totally.
leadership council?
Matt, totally, totally,
I
totally.
mean,
And
what a great
good,
way.
good,
Yes.
good attracts good. Good kids attract good kids, or good families attract one another. And we there's all kinds of through our recruiting process and our bullet points and what we're looking for. That where that goes. That goes
Yeah.
way up the list because we've all been in locker rooms over the years, and with your teams, my teams, where we win or lose, you're in that locker room, and you're like, man, that love that locker room. I'll go to war with that guy, those girls, those guys. Win or lose, you're like, man, that's great. And there's also win or
Hmm.
lose, you're in a locker room like, man, maybe it's time for me to get out of this locker room
It's
because of the players, or it's just the season just didn't go, and there's some drama, there's something going on, and you're dealing with things other than basketball, and it's just when you recruit good guys, high character guys or gals that attracts each other, then win or lose, I can be in that locker room. I
yeah.
can live. I can sleep at night. I can put my head on the pillow at night.
Yep. I mean, yeah, those a locker room like that, they're just like I mean, you can feel them. They have a vibe
Yeah,
to them. They can just like and it's either the worst it can be the place you want to be or a place you just can't wait to leave and you
yeah,
just like yeah. Man, it's man, we could keep talking, coach, but we better be
yeah,
respectful for time. So, last
yeah,
question.
yeah.
What did I not ask you that I should have? What did I miss?
Uh, um,
So, cool.
you know,
If we don't talk about it, then it's your own fault. That's the
right,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
You know what? I had a couple quotes. Uh, I like books, or like I mentioned earlier, podcasts or
Yeah.
audiobooks or books. John Gordon is one of my favorite authors, which everybody kind of knows, the Energy Bus or the
Hmm.
Carpenter, the Locker Room.
Yep.
I love his mindset. I love some of his quotes. Another couple books that I really have dug into is Tim Grover. Tim Grover,
Yep.
trainer for Michael Jordan
Jordan.
and Kobe,
Jordan.
and he's got a couple books out there. Actually, they're right here.
Is that
Winning,
relentless?
and
Yeah,
then
winning
Relentless,
and
and
relentless. Yep.
Relentless
Hmm.
are two that
Good
are my
stuff.
favorites that are just make you think different, toughness, stuff like that. So I've really dug into some of those. Uh, and I'll leave it with this. Um, and I believe this is a Bill Belichick quote. um, comfort or growth, but you can't have both.
Amen to that, right? Yeah.
Comfort or growth, but you can't have both.
I
So
almost,
I just was like,
man,
wow, I'm kind of, that's my weekly, like, my wheels are turning up here and things like that. So I just, we're always like a growth mindset, but I wanted to get them out of the comfort zone and get them uncomfortable a little bit and, keep
I
them,
don't,
keep that edge.
I feel like we could go a whole nother direction with
I
that
know.
being a Bill Belichick quote and how
Yeah.
things are going for him right now.
Right. Right. Right.
It's maybe he should he might
Yeah.
have to go back to some of his own words because I'm not
Right.
sure which way he's going right now, right? But yeah,
Right.
but no, but that's just it, right? Sometimes I do think whenever you get that's the whole thing about being hungry, right?
Yeah.
Um, if you get comfortable with something, it, it
Yeah.
it's
It's
hard to
kind
grow.
of, it's
It, it
the slap in the face is coming, or you're gonna
it's
get knocked
coming.
down, or
I
you're
know, right?
gonna
I
get
know.
stomped on or something. So you just that growth, and so I really
Yeah,
appreciate it, man. I
you bet.
really appreciate your time and love what you're doing, and I love the podcast, and hopefully your listeners get something out of it. I know we went a lot of different ways, but
Well, I think
I,
I want to if we got a minute or two here.
okay,
Here's what I
okay,
want. If nothing else, I would like because I forgot to ask this, but it's worth my time. Hopefully, it's worth your time. I did, and I came and I did my Ember to Inferno program at your school there with all the coaches there at Midland. And I'm just kind of curious. Like you're one of several people came up, but you came up and talked to me afterwards. And I think that I'd just like to. I think I want to ask you a question on what you took away from that, what you enjoyed from that, and what do you think was so good about it?
Um, there's a lot. It was kind of funny after you got. I mean, it was a good 4 or 5 hours. I mean, we, and I'm a note taker, and I was taking a lot of notes. So we spoke just a little bit afterwards, and I was still processing. Like after you spoke on tools and the coaching applications and steps to build mental toughness and all the different avenues and streets that you went down. I had to take a day or two to call you because I was still trying to process things
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's just so much to it, but there's so much of a need for student athletes because there's so much pressure for these student athletes now. There's just, and that's what I took away is that when we were in college and when we played 20 some years ago, right? Like we didn't have the social media pressure. We didn't have maybe the parental pressure or the coach pressure. I mean, you just kind of went about your business and then you hung out with your buddies and you did it the next day.
yeah,
So I had to take a step back and you of all the pressures that go into it and all the pressures that these student athletes are facing today is what I took away from it is it just kind of opened my eyes on, okay, I need to really dig into this and think about how I can help my players through adverse situations and
yeah.
stressful mental situations because there's some, I mean, a lot to unpack there, but that's a couple points that I took away. So,
Yeah, I think that you're on the money at the with the pressures and the social media. It changes their environment. It's so much different than what we were in playing. It's so much different, and to just say that it doesn't do a coach any good to just complain that kids are different or that they're soft because
yeah,
they're in a different environment than we were. So just try to help them.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I go back to this, like, there's been a lot of tough here, but there's also, and some people are against it or not against it, but at some point, you got to love on them. At
yeah.
some point, they need to hear
I
that
you do.
gratitude, the growth mindset. There's got to be that sense of I can't grind them every day. I can't grind on them every day and coach out of fear like Bobby Knight did back in the 90s. I mean, it was great. You can't do that now. maybe a day
No.
or so, but you can't do it day after day after day. You gotta love on them. You gotta make sure or they know that they're appreciative and that they're worth, and uh, it's
Your level of love has to be at the same level as your level of like discipline and
yeah.
everything, right? The type of as hard as you put up, as hard as you push them, you have the amount of love has to be right there with them. And when you do that, man, you can really push them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
Coach, thank you so much. It's been
yeah,
great talking to you. Really
that's
enjoy
great.
it. We will keep in touch. I sure appreciate it.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, hey, we'll see you soon. We'll see you soon.
You bet. You bet. We will.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Take care.
Coaches, do you dream of guiding mentally tough athletes towards a championship? Kids that are resilient, persistent, and unshaken by setbacks. Well, in today's world, those athletes aren't born. They have to be developed. Many athletes face significant challenges and risk burnout. So, how do we foster that mental toughness without overwhelming them? Well, introducing the Ember to Inferno program, Building Mentally Tough Athletes. This series is designed specifically for coaches, offering a deep dive into your own journey of mental toughness and equipping you with practical tools to build confidence and belief in your athletes. Rather than just simply adding more adversity to their life, we focus on creating a strong foundation for mental resilience. You'll learn how to transform a spark of motivation into a blazing fire of toughness, using techniques that address challenges like social media pressures, athletic stress, and trauma. Don't just wish for mentally tough athletes, build them. Join the Ember to Inferno program today and ignite the potential in your athletes. For more information, contact me, Coach Toman, at Mental Mettle Coaching. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Tyler Erwin of Midland University basketball, men's basketball. I think, it's he's new into that position relatively, and it's just he's one of those guys that I wish him well. He's doing it what I believe is the right way, and he is doing so many things, and it's making it so much more about basketball. It's more than just basketball, and just how he's doing that. And I know he's building his culture in the right way. Just from what I've seen of successful coaches, they know the importance of a strong team culture. I don't think anybody doubts that anymore, but I think that not everybody gives it as much importance as they should. And he's come into a newer program and made that the goal first above athletics and how they play basketball. It's that culture, and in any time that you come in, I think you have to have your pillars or your true north or this is what we're about. And he's definitely got that. And it's very well defined. They have their cultures, their pillars and integrity, determination, self-service, gratitude, growth mindset. And those are great. They kind of seem like they're all over the place. And I was kind of thinking about that during the interview. But then when I realized it was player led, and because it didn't feel as polished, right? Like a coach would kind of work on this and polish it and have all this stuff. And it would, might come into like, it might stand for something. It might spell a word, the first, 5 letters, something like that. And he instead let his players choose those pillars, and then they adjust them and they build them as needed. And I think that's one thing that I would highly suggest. I don't care if it's college, I don't care if it's high school, junior high, whatever, is one, you have to have those team pillars. You have to have those things that you stand for, that kind of guide you. This is what we're about. This is what we're going to do. But I think that your players have to be part of that decision-making process and choosing those pillars. Now, if you've got a university that, people are coming into every year and you want to try have some consistency, that's fine. And you should, but they have to have some say in how they get adjusted, how they get changed, how it gets implemented. It has to be theirs. I think that a top-down culture dictated by the coach and only the coach, I don't know. I don't think that goes as well. I think that a culture has to be, at least on some level, player-led, because that's who it's about. It's not your team, it's their team, and you want them to be able to have ownership in that, and they're gonna do the heavy lifting for you. I think if it's coach led and coach owned culture, that's exhausting. It's exhausting. And if you don't have any buy-in, if you don't have help building that culture, it's going to be really hard for you. And I think having the players be in on the inception of your pillars and your ideas, and then going out and teaching the new players or anybody else on the team. He's got that group of leaders. But having those guys go down and kind of like, they're your lieutenants, right? And they go down and kind of spread that message and spread that culture. That's what you want. It does give away some control, but I think that's okay. I think that's better. Give away some of that control and you'll get a lot back in return. Now, at the college level, that means you got to make sure that you are recruiting the kids that you trust to do that. And we talked about that in that interview. High school, it's harder. It is harder because you kind of get what you're dealt, but you have to then, pick out those that you want to be in charge, that you want to lead, and then also make sure that the behaviors that you see, when you see good behaviors and you see good decisions, make sure that you just elaborate on that and make sure that they understand that they're doing the right things, right? So give them the space to lead, and then really honor that and really praise that, and then help them go on and help others is what I'm trying to say there. And that's really helpful. It might feel like it's a longer process, but I think it's better in the long run. So really good stuff with Tyler Erwin. And if you listen through this, and I talked about at the beginning, and then Tyler and I talked about it a little bit, the Ember to Inferno program, it's just different kind of professional development, really helping today's athletes, today's coaches work with today's athletes. And really, we get into a lot of the stuff that you might not on some other professional development. We get into some of the some trauma-informed stuff and how that affects kids. And it's not an excuse, but how we understand, kids are different than they used to be because they live in a different world. Like the kids that we're coaching now are not grown up in the same way we are. And I think you have to account for that. Again, it's not an excuse, but you have to account for it. Why would you not account for it? If they're a little bit different, if they grew up in a different world, then you have to, you're just beating your head up against the wall if you're trying to fix the world and change the world. It doesn't really work that way. Like the kids, they live in this world that's a little bit different with all the social media and all the pressures and all that stuff. So learn to help them in that world, meet them where they are. And I think that's what I love about the Ember to Inferno program is it allows you to do that. And, and again, have a guy like Tyler who's running in charge of a good NAIA college program is interested in it, then that's really good advertisement here for me. And if you have interest in that program, let me know. I can always talk to your administrators, talk to your athletic director. I'd love to tell you about it. So check out that Ember to Inferno program. And thank you so much for listening. It's my absolute pleasure to do the Mental Mettle Podcast, and I couldn't do it without you guys listening. So thank you so much. But we're out of time. This has been the Mental Mettle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Matt Tillman, and always remember to forge your metal. Thanks for listening to the Mental Mettle Podcast. Don't forget to tune in every week for more insights and strategies to help you forge mental toughness and resilience. This podcast is brought to you by Mental Mettle Coaching, where we are driven by a passion for sharing knowledge and experience that empowers others to play, live, and grow with confidence. Our mission is to instill a resilient and spirited mindset in our clients, enabling them to confidently face adversity and actively seek new challenges for personal growth. At Mental Mettle Coaching, we offer individual coaching, group coaching, and professional development for schools and businesses. Whether you're an athlete, educator, or professional, we're here to help you unlock your potential and thrive in every area of life. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and always remember to forge your mettle.